Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurmamritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asitoma Sadagamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurmamritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asitoma Sadagamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurmamritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Lead us from ignorance to truth, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Ms. Mamta, for lending your voice to the Panos Mabatti, our lamp of knowledge. Honorable keynote speaker, Dr. Kumud Dhital, distinguished guests, respected parents, director, principal, teachers, and our dear graduates, Namaste. Welcome to the graduation ceremony of the class of 2020. My name is Rachel Parajali, an A-level student at Rato Bangala School, and I'm honored to take you through the virtual graduation program this morning. Sadly, due to the pandemic, this ceremony is being conducted online like everything has been for the past few months. However, this is a very special gathering to honor you and celebrate your graduation today. Now, to begin the graduation ceremony, I would like to invite our beloved principal, Ms. Milan Dixit, to address the class of 2020.
Namaste. Commencement speaker, Dr. Kumud Dhital, respected parents, my colleagues at Rato Bangala, and dear students. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you today to this very unique graduation ceremony of the class of 2020, the 20th batch to graduate from Rato Bangala School. This is definitely not the graduation ceremony that we ever envisioned. Little did we imagine that the day would come when we would be compelled to hold a virtual graduation ceremony. I feel a little overwhelmed and sad that we couldn't have you at the school, smiling and joyful, all dressed up and looking so grown up and enthusiastic. We miss decorating the school to welcome you and your families. We miss congratulating you physically, the live performances, the graduation lunch, the thank yous, the compliments, the hugs and goodbyes. And of course, the endless photography around the school compound. When this pandemic is all over, we will have to make up for that dear class of 2020. And many years from now, we will look back at this quaint ceremony and smile. But today, we will cherish and enjoy this special online event we have put together to honor you and your transition to the big world. We have 147 of you graduating today, all from this vibrant and dynamic class of 2020. A special welcome to our commencement speaker, Dr. Kumud Dhital, a true role model for Nepali youth. Dr. Dhital is a cardiothoracic and transplant surgeon with clinical and academic experience in Europe and Australia. Dr. Dhital is best known for performing the world's first heart transplant from a dead donor in 2014. Thank you, Kumud Dhital, for giving us your precious time to be with us this morning. Sometimes unfortunate events bring good luck too. The pandemic has given us the opportunity to have a brilliant remote keynote speaker all the way from Australia. Thank you so much. Thank you to Maya Sherpa for representing the parents of the class of 2020 today. As a dedicated and engaged mother of 3 talented children who have all graduated from RBS, you have been with us supporting the school through all the ups and downs over the years. Ms. Sherpa, you are also graduating today as a Rato Bangala parent with your youngest one. Congratulations. A graduation ceremony is an important landmark in the lives of students, but also for parents and teachers. It is an emotional moment for parents who raised you and us teachers who got to know you well through school. Today, we are beginning the process of moving forward, stepping away from those who nurtured you and saw you blossom and grow. The pandemic has brought uncertainty and unknown challenges before Nepal and the world. We really don't know what the future holds. This means that we need to use all the guts and grit we have to ride out this crisis. It teaches us to be prepared for the black swan events and not to let external forces gain an upper hand. One of the most important lessons in life is to learn from challenges and make yourself stronger as you move ahead. विपद पर्न आए नहु थक्क थक्क. Remember Kavi Siromani Leknath Paurel's Ma Kasto Hu that you recited every morning at RBS. Dear class of 2020, there will be setbacks in your lives and you will learn to deal with them. We have equipped you with the necessary skills and means to overcome obstacles and not be overwhelmed by them. Each graduating class has its own character. I know this class to be composed of individuals who are forthright and efficient. You are initiative takers and proactive individuals who have the persistence and stamina to pull through challenging projects. These are the qualities we want our students to develop. With the class of 2020, we share many fond memories. The extraordinary science expo that you put out, the responsibility you demonstrated when you volunteered for events such as the Bal Sahitya Mahotsav, the inception of the TED Ed Club, the vibrancy of the Debate Club, the adventurous journeys of the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, the MUN. We will miss Kelsang's songs, Rubin's flute, Apurva's piano, Samyak's dances, Rinchen's sarangi, and Dipson's photography, and much, much more that is not possible to list right here. A very special congratulations to Samyak and Prashanti and Kaustubh for initiating the TED Ed Club and working relentlessly to make it successful. It is now a RBS tradition that will continue. Thank you. Congratulations to Pratyush for representing Nepal at the World School Debate Championships, along with your seniors in Thailand last year. Well done, Pratyush. Personally, I enjoyed working with you on college counseling and the Model United Nations. The MUN events were memorable days for you, and even more so for us teachers who watched you and saw your confidence levels soar as you took the leadership to organize RBS MUN 2019. Secretary General Meghna, Deputy Secretary Generals Kaustubh and Rinchen, as well as the entire organizing team deserve a special mention and a huge round of applause. I missed the applause in the auditorium. I would also like to congratulate the Gold Award participants for the Duke of Edinburgh's Award from this class. They have just completed the requirements, the stringent requirements. Anisa Ahmad, Dipson, Drishti, Jaya, Prashanti, Prince, Rinchen, R.N. Sakya, Samyak, Sanskriti, and Shrish. Prince Bandari deserves a special applause for being the first one in this group to successfully submit all the requirements for the Gold Award. He, along with Shrish and Prashanti, are the first to complete all 3 levels from bronze to silver and then gold. The others jumped from bronze to gold. Congratulations to Dipson Pradhan, Gold Award first prize photo and video competition, Ghore Pani Adventurous Journey, and to Rosik Chand, Bronze Award second prize volunteer service tutoring at Naya Samaj केन्द्र, नयाँ नेपाल समाज केन्द्र. The pandemic has also tested your patience and ability to deal with external events. A case in point was the final A-levels being cancelled just a few days before the finals, and the changes in the grading system that Cambridge introduced for the crisis. Here again, it is a lesson in adjusting to uncertainty that life brings. I would like to congratulate you for your results, your hard work and dedication through all these challenges. I have to mention the high achievers from this class who got awarded by Cambridge for the examination that they sat for last year. Avasna Rupa Kheti, highest mark in the world for Cambridge International AS level environmental management. Mishal Sunwar, highest mark in Nepal for Cambridge International AS level mathematics. Priya Gurung, highest mark in Nepal for Cambridge International AS level English general paper. Aryan Yadav, highest mark in Nepal for Cambridge International AS level mathematics. Let's give them a round of applause. Many of you will be attending colleges mostly virtually soon. I will just run through the colleges that you are attending soon. Abhig, Dickinson, Ankit, Gettysburg College, Apurva, Franklin and Marshall, Aryan Yadav, Cornell University, Arunday Raj Bhandari, DePaul University, Devansh Raj Mishra, Union College, Devesh Agrawal, Franklin and Marshall, Gandhiv, Jacobs University, Kelsang, DePaul University, Mayank, Oberlin College, Meghna Adhikari, Grinnell College, Niharika Pant, Georgetown, Paresh Shrestha, Brandeis, Pramudita Bhattrai, Jacobs University, Prince Bhandari, University of Stirling, Rakshit, Northeastern University, Rasik, NYU Abu Dhabi, Rinchen, Stanford University. Rinchen was faced with a wonderful dilemma of having to choose between Stanford and Yale University. She deserves a huge round of applause. I usually tell students when they're faced with such a dilemma to close their eyes and just pick a lot. Sanskriti Maske, IE Spain, IE University in Spain, Saugat Raj Joshi, Hobart and William Smith Colleges, Sri Tripathi, NYU Shanghai, Utsavi Joshi, Trinity University. Many of you are taking a gap year. We hope you will use the time constructively and find worthwhile experiences that will not only develop your interests further, but also gain experience in helping Nepali society respond to the health and economic crisis unleashed by this pandemic in your own way. Class of 2020, your graduation also honors your parents, your families, and teachers whose hard work has brought you to this day. Congratulations, teachers. You have done a wonderful job of developing these young minds and talents from grade 1 to 12. You have given them values, lessons, and love. Let's give a hand to the proud parents and teachers of the class of 2020. Let's see virtual hands. Students, you leave this privileged place having benefited from Rato Bangala's world-class education that prepares you for whatever the world has to offer. It is an education designed to prepare you to make society and the planet a better place. You leave here knowing who you are and the kind of person and the kind of place you come from. You know your strengths and weaknesses, and that the best people are a marvelous mixture of both. You will be faced with new and challenging choices every step of the way. You have the freedom to discover what is true for you and pursue that goal. You have learned from your years at Rato Bangala that education is not for material advantage alone. It is to spread it to the less advantaged in society and to uplift them. In your higher studies, in whatever subject, or in whatever future careers you may go, you will find that there is always a higher calling. Class of 2020, the world awaits you. You can be change makers, whatever profession you choose. You can be scientists or artists, social activists or lawyers, teachers or politicians, fashion designers or surgeons. Whatever you choose to become, you will find that the greatest personal fulfillment always comes from knowing that you had a hand in improving an existing situation. The world is going through an unprecedented health crisis. The planet faces a climate emergency. So your solutions have to be at personal, societal, and national levels. You need to learn to lessen the impact of the pandemic on the most vulnerable, protect nature's biodiversity, switch to a sustainable and less wasteful lifestyle. If anything, this pandemic should teach us how little you actually need to live. Let's face it, when everyone is exposed to air pollution, complaining about air pollution is boring. We all see garbage on the street saying, cha, is not original when we see the garbage. The real question always is, what are you going to do to make things better? I'm glad to say that none of the past RBS graduates are sitting around complaining about how bad things are. They are trying to find solutions in their own little ways. Rato Bangala alumni have launched startups. They are social entrepreneurs. Many are working on development around the world, and they have a deep commitment to social justice and are working to make the world a better place. Wherever you go in the world, whatever you do, whenever you excel in studies or sports, whenever you show simple acts of kindness, whenever you do well, the country does well. Nepal does well. All it needs is for you to believe in yourselves and to give back to society, even just a little bit of what society gave to you. The life lessons that you have gathered at Rato Bangala will stand you in good stead as you take on the many other challenges you will face in your lives. The strong bonds of friendships and the culture of cooperation you have learned will remain with you and help you wherever in the world you go. The world has become a very complicated place. You have to be switched on, have your wits about you. You have to think independently as you navigate through life. Remember that the best way to resolve conflicts is peacefully. You already know how to be thoughtful and kind, compassionate and caring. Class of 2020, may you lead fulfilled lives. May you be blessed with moral courage and infinite imagination. Dream big, work hard, think for yourselves. We will miss you, but I know that your occasional visits back to school and the news of your successes will keep our hearts smiling. Ladies and gentlemen, now we move on to that very special moment, the conferring of the scarves and certificates. First, I will give you the instructions, class of 2020. As the Mangal Dhun plays, a family member will put the scarf on for you. After you put on the scarf, you will take your certificates that you have received from the school and show it to us on camera. Can we have a gallery view and the Mangal Dhun, please?
Milan, that was very meaningful and heartfelt. After that triumphant moment for you graduates, I would like to call on Rinchen Sherpa to speak on behalf of the class of 2020.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, keynote speaker Dr. Kumud Dhital, Principal Ms. Milan, Director Ms. Shanta, parents, guardians, teachers, and administrators of RBS, and my dear friends. My name is Rinchen Sherpa, and it brings me immense pleasure to be speaking on behalf of the Rato Bangala School class of 2020. Graduates, we made it. When I was asked to be one of the speakers for this year, as you can probably guess, I was extremely happy. However, as I began writing my speech, I realized what a huge task I had undertaken. How do you fit 12 years of memories, experiences, happiness, sadness, and every other possible feeling into a 5-minute speech? In no way would I have been able to do my class justice. And so here I am today sharing my own personal journey at RBS. Like many of us here, I joined RBS in the first grade. As a student of grade 1, I remember being awestruck by how big the school was. Today, it doesn't seem as large. When I look back upon my memories at RBS, a few stand out in particular. Environment Day was one of my personal favorite events at RBS and one that I looked forward to every year. Rato Bangala is definitely to credit for my love and appreciation for nature conservation. Another personal favorite was being a part of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award. I don't think any of us ever complained as much as we did on that Bronze Award trip, filled with thunderstorms and leeches, and yet it was on that trip that we learned of the good that comes from teamwork. I especially loved sitting on the benches outside the A-level building, surrounded by the people I cared about the most. It feels bittersweet to to reminisce on those moments as I come to the realization that we may never get to experience them again. When I think of what it means to be a Rato Bangala student, it is not solely academic excellence that comes to mind, but a plethora of other qualities. My values of empathy, compassion, and honesty have all come from my years of learning at RBS. I realize now, as I write this speech, that community service is ingrained in every activity at RBS, whether that be MUN, Bal Sahitya Mahotsav, science fairs, or food markets. Although we may not have understood how important this is back then, we definitely understand it today. At Rato Bangla, we were taught to be our best, most genuine selves, and to always strive to work harder and never hesitate to help our peers in the process. I know that I speak for all of us when I say that I'm truly grateful to have had such a supportive learning environment throughout my 12 years here. As I come to the realization that this is perhaps the last time I will be speaking to all of you together in this way, there are a few things about RBS that I will miss the most. I will miss my friends and my teachers, of course, but I will also miss the way the cherry blossoms bloom in the spring. I will miss our uncoordinated Banu Satyabadis in the morning, and I will miss the view from FF and potlucks on the roof. I will miss the black benches outside the A-level building. I will miss the playground and the swing. I will miss MUN and the months of preparation it took, and I will miss using computer class to play games. I will miss buying peanuts from the fruit market as well. All of our experiences at Rato Bangla are unique, and yet somehow they are all the same. It is surely unconventional to be graduating in this way, but I realize now that there is nothing conventional about this batch of RBS students. Wherever we go in life, and no matter how far apart we may be, we will always be a family. And when we come together another time, it will be as though no time has passed at all. To conclude, on behalf of all of us, I would like to extend my gratitude to each and every individual who has played an integral role in bringing us here today. To Ms. Milan and Ms. Shanta, who always supported our dreams, thank you. To Ms. Sarita, Ms. Deepa, Ms. Rekha, and Ms. Rajni, who helped shape our aspirations as coordinators, thank you. To the teachers who chased after us, quite literally, to get us to submit our assignments so we could get the grade we deserved, thank you. To Ms. Rodzla, who ensured that everything went smoothly in A-levels, and to Ms. Mamta and the school administration who were there to lead the ropes, thank you. To the teachers at the library who gave us a peaceful and productive place to study, thank you. To the school tech and lab staff who in their own ways kept Rato Bangla School running behind the scenes, thank you. To the dais and didis in the kitchen who kept us well fed, the guard dais at the gate who kept us safe, and the bus staff who made sure we reached home every day, thank you. To all the maintenance and cleaning staff, thank you. And lastly, to you parents who raised us to be the people we are today, who funded and supported our dreams at Rato Bangla School, thank you. We truly would not have been where we are today without you to guide us along the way. Today is a celebration of not only our successes as students, but of yours as well. I could speak on and on about how much I love this school and everyone in it, but I know it would not be feasible to do so at the moment. And so I end my speech with a poem from Dr. Seuss. You're off to great places, today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinchen. That was indeed entertaining and emotional. I would like to invite another graduating student, Apurva Subedi, to share his part of the experience in RBS.
Respected Dr. Kumud, teachers, parents, administrators, and my fellow graduates, good morning. I'm Apurva Subedi, and like many of my friends here, I first walked the halls of Rato Bangala only 2 years ago. I came in scared, intimidated by not just a completely new school, but also rumors I'd heard of pretentious, overbearing people. I expected to be treated horribly. So during orientation and after, I waited. I waited for someone who'd pick on me, someone that would come up to me and comment on the way I walk or how cheap my shoes were, someone that would make fun of me. I waited, and I waited some more, but no one ever did. Instead, I was met with nothing but warmth and love. I remember being so surprised that the people I had heard so many rumors about being cold and unnerving were in reality so kind and loving. The first few months were a series of surprises. It was small things like Lahusar is picking up his pen himself, when it fell in front of me in class instead of ordering me to. Or Rekha is never shouting at anyone, even though we gave her such a hard time. I know it may sound normal to most of you here, but to me, I was used to being treated by my teachers as inferior, as someone who doesn't deserve respect, someone who's below them. Here, I felt like an equal, like a real person, worthy of respect. I did miss out on a lot of gossip and social life here because I'm a bit of an introvert. But there are these moments I remember during breaks when everyone would be out in the sun. Uh, I don't speak much, so I just look around and take everything in. Kelsang singing on the bench in front of me, Rinchen frantically doing her chemistry homework on the other side, Adishree complaining about the sun while Niharika thoroughly enjoys sunbathing beside her, and over at the basketball court, Mohim and Chris arguing about something. Behind my bench, Dhital would be giving her astrology briefing for the day. Pragya making a bunch of people laugh in front of that small corner in front of that library entrance. And somebody would be turning off their music as Miss Rajni approached them. I'd see all this, and there was something about it that would make me so lighthearted and happy. Among sounds of laughter, scattered chatter, and occasional shrieks, I remember thinking, man, I could live here forever. In those moments, it didn't feel like school with all its stress and anxiety and course load. It felt more calming, more relaxing. It felt like home. You are all wonderful, every single one of you. I have never seen a group of people so diverse in personality and yet so similar in character. I cannot pick out a single person here who will not help you when you need them to, who will not stand up for you when you can't, and who will not listen when you feel unheard. If there was one word I'd describe our class with, though, it would be acceptance. You know me, I walk funny, I talk a little, and I have horrible hair. All these are true, and everyone knew that. But here, I wasn't defined by them. That wasn't my identity. Not just me, absolutely no one was defined by their eccentricities. Instead, I was the guy who played the piano, who did great in class, who played chess, and who loved music. No one had a problem accepting me for who I was instead of focusing on all my negatives. Here, for the first time in God knows when, I felt confident, like I could just relax, be myself, and I wouldn't be punished for it. Thank you so much for giving me that. It has been a strange year, and to be honest, the past 2 years weren't that easy either. In fact, to most, A levels were probably the hardest years of their life. But in the end, and I think I speak from all of you here, there isn't any place else we, or at least I, would rather have spent them in. Looking ahead, As school finally comes to an end, I am grateful that I will take with me a part of you all to help me face everything life throws at me. We are a family, and I assure you we will always be one. 10 years, 20 years from now, someone somewhere will see the words Rato Bangala, and in a sudden rush of memories, we will be transported back to those moments during breaks, talking, complaining, laughing, and shouting. Oh, how great it feels to be home. I came tentatively nervous and unsure of myself, unsure of everything that I might face. Today, I leave school standing tall and confident, ready to take on life, ready to take on the world. I have no one but Rato Bangala to thank for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurva, for that terrific speech. It sounds like A-level has been memorable for all of you. Dear graduates, your presence in school, whether it was playing volleyball, football, basketball, chess, and Uno together, or even just sitting down on the benches and talking, will really be missed by us all, teachers as well as students. Thanking you for all the memories, it is now time to sit back and enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially for you graduates. As well as will really be missed by us all. Thanking you, teachers as well as students. It is now time to sit back and enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially for you graduates.
So make the best of this test and don't ask why.
It's not a question, but a lesson.
As well as will really be missed by us all. Thanking you, teachers, as well as students. It is now time to thanking you, teachers, all the memories. It is now time to sit back and enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially for you graduates. As well as really be missed by us all. Thanking you, teachers, as well as really be missed by us all. Thanking you, teachers, as well as students. It is now time to thanking you, enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially for you. Music video made by A2 students, especially for you.
It was worth all the while. Something unpredictable.
As well as students, thanking you, teachers, as well as students. Now time. Thanking you, teachers, all the memories made. It is now time to thank you. Enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially for you. Thanking you, teachers, all the memories made. It is now time to thanking you, enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had a time of your life.
Thanking you, teachers, all the memories made. It is now time to thanking you, teachers, all the memories made. It is now time to enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students.
But in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's right.
Thanking you, teachers, all the memories made. It is now time to thanking you, teachers, all the memories made. It is now time to enjoy the music video made by A2 students, especially enjoy the music video made by A2 students. We are very sorry for the technical and audio glitches. This is a first for us too, so please bear with us. We hope that was fun, and we hope that you graduates really enjoyed it. Now, I'd like to call upon Kaustubh Dhital to share his insights and feelings about graduating.
Good morning to our distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Kumud Dhital, Principal Ms. Milan Dixit, Director Ms. Shanta Dixit, teachers, parents, and all my friends. Today we celebrate a significant rite of passage made all the more memorable by the unique circumstances we find ourselves in. Today we cast aside any worries for the future and fondly reflect on the past, remembering all the experiences and all the individuals who have helped us get where we find ourselves today. 12 years of life in school, 12 challenging and confusing but unforgettable years in school have officially come to an end today. As I stand or sit here talking to everyone, two words ring through my head the loudest. Time flies. It was just yesterday that I finished dead last in the banana eating race in my first ever RBS sports day. Barely a blink of an eye later, Here I am, bidding farewell to school itself. To my then carefree 6-year-old self, the end of school would have been an unimaginable, unthinkable idea. My world consisted simply of going to school and coming back home and repeating the cycle day in, day out. I did not think of what lay beyond school. I did not care for what lay beyond school. Now, 12 years later, the concept of school being over is still as unimaginable, even as it happens right now. That is why this graduation is somewhat of a rude shock, a wake-up call telling us that the days of waiting to play in the big field are over and that time has come to be serious and do adult stuff. However, let's keep those thoughts aside for today and simply take a look back. There are far too many moments and memories to talk about from our school life. So I ask all of you to take some time today and reflect on all your memories, pleasant or not so much, from your 2 years or 12 years in RBS. Think about how these moments have shaped you to be the person you are. Personally speaking, some of my most cherished memories involve RBS MUN, from attending practice session to winning awards in the main event and eventually organizing one. They helped me realize what I'm most passionate about and encouraged me to turn that into something serious in the future. Memories with friends within the walls of RBS are obviously going to be a source of nostalgia. We met new people, be it in first grade or A1, and simply put, formed lifelong memories with them. As cliched as it sounds, we must be happy that these memories happened, not sad that everything is over. And so today we celebrate happily that these memories happened. Navigating the conflicts, changes, and perils accompanying teenagehood isn't easy, especially for someone like me who isn't always expressive. It is easy to feel lost and detached, something even I experienced, unfortunately. This is where the human side of RBS and its people comes into play, an aspect not talked about enough. I admit that at times I was alone against my challenges, as I chose not to tell about these struggles to most people. However, RBS made sure that I came out of this experience a changed person. The two A-level subject teachers that I did talk to showed heartwarming empathy and concern, which at that point in time meant a lot, and it still does. It was simple in action, but profound in effect. I was encouraged to look at the confusions of teenagehood from a different viewpoint, helping me gain the perspective I needed to develop my character and the change in perspective that I needed so that I could improve myself. Other little things would also keep me, and many other people I'm sure, upbeat in times of distress. The dais and didis in the kitchen would happily serve lunch even if it's 1 p.m. and you come into the kitchen starving. The dais in the A-level building would greet you every morning and talk to you amicably. Man Bhardu Dai and Kalpana Didi were the same friendly people they were 12 years ago. Miss Mamta's constant shushing in the library was also reassuring. Not hearing it on any given day meant something was terribly wrong. All of these events may seem insignificant to the outsider, but for someone like me and many others struggling to make sense of high school and everything teenagey, these daily moments were comforting and provided a sense of stability. Therefore, not having to go to RBS from now on is a jolt to the system. The sense of security and regularity that lasted for 12 years is now gone. As such, we might feel a sense of loss and may feel uneasy about what lies ahead. So my advice would be to deal with this conundrum. Worry not about the future. Let us remember and celebrate all our experiences of the past, our achievements and our setbacks, our lessons and our mistakes, our highs and our lows. If we've made it this far, the road ahead won't be much difficult either. However, let us forget all of those worries for today and remember 12 glorious years of school, 12 unforgettable years of our lives. There's a lot to be grateful for. Without the support of our peers, we would not have been able to discover our true selves. Without the encouragement and faith of our principal and coordinators, we would not have the excellent opportunities we have had, academic or elsewhere. Without the effort and care of our teachers through grades 1 to A level, we would not have been the sound individuals we are today. Without the tireless work of the non-teaching and administrative staff, we wouldn't have had a functional school to attend. My special thanks also goes to our keynote speaker of today, Dr. Kumud Dhital, who has given us his precious time to provide us his insight on the road ahead. So for this, thank you. For all of this, in fact, for shaping my journey, our journey, I am thankful to all of you. I would like to wish everyone the very best in their future endeavors. And with this, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaustubh. That was enjoyable. Representing the parents of the class of 2020, I would like to call Ms. Sherpa to deliver her speech.
Thank you, Rachel. Good morning and namaste, everyone. My name is Maya Sherpa, as you all know maybe right now. I'm a very happy and proud graduating parent of Rinchen Sherpa. When I was asked to speak on behalf of the parents, I was a bit hesitant because अहिलेसम्म मैले कहिले पनि स्पिच यसरी भनेकै छैन। तर जब म लेख्न बसेँ, मलाई त रातो बाङ्लाको बारेमा बताउने कुरा त कति धेरै रहेछ। अनि मलाई त्यो 5 मिनेटमा बोल्नु भनेको त पुग्दै नपुगेको जस्तो फिल भयो। Thank you, the entire Rato Bangala graduation team 2020. I take this opportunity as an honor. I would like to start my speech with a thank you note. धन्यवाद Shanta, Milan Miss, Shanta Miss, रातो बङ्गला यस्तो स्कुल खोलिदिनु भएकोमा। रातो बङ्गलाले गर्दा नै मैले मेरो छोराछोरीहरूलाई आफूसँग राख्न पाएँ र वर्ल्ड क्लास एजुकेसन पनि नेपालमै दिन पाएँ। नभएको भए सायद मैले मेरो बच्चाहरूलाई विदेश पनि इन्डियातिर पढ्न पठाउने सोच पनि बनाइसकेको थिएँ। The great foundation that they received here has allowed them to thrive and be independent in various settings around the world. And I know I have seen it. Dadaji, धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद for introducing Chandaka Kavita in the life of our kids. घरमा एक दिन नारद सुन्दा सुन्दा मलाई नै कण्ठ भइसक्यो। Thank you to our amazing coordinators, our iron ladies, Miss Rekha, Miss Rajni, Miss Deepa, Miss Sarita, who have seen all my kids grow up. It's a tough job to handle hundreds of students, especially preteens and teenagers. हामीलाई त घरमा एक दुई जनाले नै हैरान नै खेलाउँथ्यो। Our highly competent teachers, thank you for your patience and your empathy and not throwing our kids out of window when they annoyed you. College apply गर्दा last moment मा please recommendation लेखिदिनुस् न, please मेरो कलेजको लिस्ट हेरिदिनुस् न, please फर्म भरिदिनुस् न भनेर तपाईहरुलाई कति रातहरु ढिलासम्म काम गर्न बाध्य बनायो होला. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. Every day we would send our kids to school knowing that they were in good hands. We truly thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you, admin staffs, for helping the school run smoothly. Thank you, Miss Ashna. Thank you, Miss Rojla, Miss Manta, Miss, and everyone I missed here. Kitchen ka dai didiharu, safai गर्ने दाइ दिदीहरु, गार्ड दाइहरु, ड्राइभर दाइ, सहयोगी दाइहरु, धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। तपाईहरुको सानो सानो प्रयास र सानो सानो मायाले नै हाम्रो बालबालिकाहरु आज यहाँ यो अवस्थामा आइपुगेका छन्। रातो बंगलामा चाहिँ मेरो यात्रा 2003 मा सुरु भयो। मेरी जेठी छोरी योन्दिन कक्षा 3 मा र मेरो छोरा वाङदेन कक्षा 1 मा। तर मैले त्यो भन्दा पहिला पनि 2002 सालमा चाहिँ मेरो छोरीलाई भर्ना गर्न प्रयास गरेको थिए। अनि किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ मलाई रातो बंगलाको बारेमा एकदम धेरै राम्रो कुराहरु सुनेपछि म एकदम एक्साइटेड भएर अनि झन् त्यो माथि पनि टिकाराम सर चाहिँ जो चाहिँ मेरो स्कुलमा नेपाली टिचर हुनुहुन्थ्यो, उहाँले त्यहाँ पढाउनु हुन्छ भनेपछि त म यस्तो दङ्ग परेर सरलाई भेट्न गएको थिएँ। अनि सरले चाहिँ नानी यो स्कुलमा त सोर्स फर्स्ट चल्दैन भन्नु भएपछि म चुप्प लागेर फर्केर आएँ। तर 2003 सालमा चाहिँ मेरो छोरा र छोरी दुवै जनाले रातो बंगलामा नाम निकाल्यो and I finally became a proud Rato Bangala parent. My children came from a very small junior school before Rato Bangala. So along with them, I and my husband, we were very excited but nervous. तर रातो बंगलाको चाइल्ड फ्रेन्डली इन्भाइरोमेन्टमा चाहिँ उनीहरुलाई एडजस्ट हुनलाई केही गाह्रो भएन। उनीहरु सजिलैसँग स्कुलमा एडजस्ट पनि भएर उनीहरुले स्कुललाई एकदमै रमाइलो मानेर स्कुल जान पनि थाले। And after that there is no looking back. My eldest daughter Yundin, she went to Yale University and currently she's working at World Economic Forum in Geneva. And my son Wangden is pursuing his bachelor's degree in engineering from Rice University. And my youngest, the graduate Rinchen, will be attending Stanford University. I said this here as a happy and proud parent and share the achievement with Rato Bangala and the entire school fraternity. I don't think this all could have been possible if not for the school teachers and school fraternities and everyone from the Rato Bangala. I remember हाम्रो बच्चाहरू त्यो पेरेन्ट्स डेमा लिपस्टिक लगाएर गाजल लगाएर नेपाली लुगामा कस्तो माया लाग्दो भएर स्पोर्ट्स डेमा मार्च पास्टमा दौडेर एकदम कलरफुल टी सर्ट्सहरू लगाएर these are the memories that I will cherish in my mind. And I'm so glad that Rato Bangala not only provided an education, but gave each and every student every opportunity to develop as a human being. Will it be climbing mountains in HMI or performing Greek mythology for Parents' Day? The participation and sometimes मैले त कतिचोटि नभएको बेलामा मेरो भाइ मेरो आमा मेरो देवरहरूलाई पनि पठाएको थिएँ स्कुलको फङ्सन्सहरूमा त्यो मेलाहरूमा के स्कुलले गर्ने विविध कार्यक्रमहरूमा चाहिँ पेरेन्ट्स र सबैजनाको इक्वल पार्टिसिपेसनले गर्दाखेरि नै बच्चाहरू र पेरेन्ट्स गार्जियन्सहरूको बिचमा एउटा क्लोजली एउटा वातावरण बन्यो जसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ कस्तो पढाउँदो रहेछ त स्कुलले यो बच्चाहरू स्कुल गएर के सिक्दो रहेछ त भन्ने कुराहरू पनि बाउ आमाले पनि राम्रोसँग जानकारी पाए र इभन घरकै हजुरबा हजुरआमाहरूले पनि बच्चाको बारेमा राम्रोसँग बुझ्ने मौका पाए यो स्कुलले सबै एकदम राम्रो राम्रो मात्रै भएको छैन बिचारा स्कुललाई पनि त्यही 2003, 4, 5 सालतिर माओवादी द्वन्द्वको बेलामा धेरै दुःख खेप्नु पर्यो उनीहरू स्कुललाई माओवादीहरूले यति दुःख दियो तर त्यो बेलामा चाहिँ स्कुलले यस्तो राम्रोसँग त्यो समस्याहरूलाई ट्याकल गर्यो मलाई अहिले पनि याद छ हामी घण्टौं मिटिङ गर्थ्यौं हामी त्यहाँ बसेर कसरी समस्या सल्झाउने भनेर कुरा गर्थ्यौं त्यतिखेर चाहिँ हो मैले रातो बंगलामा मैले बच्चा पठाएर एकदमै राम्रो डिसिजन लिए भनेर म धेरै खुसी भएको किनभने स्कुलले आफैले निर्णय नगरेर हरेक समस्या चाहिँ पेरेन्ट्सहरुको अगाडि राखेर पेरेन्ट्सहरुको पनि सबै कुराहरु सुनेर अनि त्यो समस्यालाई सल्भ गर्नको लागि अगाडि बढ्थ्यो अनि स्कुललाई त एकदमै गाह्रो थियो किनभने बाउआमाले बच्चा स्कुल पठाउँथ्यो अनि स्कुललाई दिनभरि स्कुलले आफ्नो सेफ इन्भाइरोमेन्टमा राखेर बच्चालाई पढाउनु पनि पर्थ्यो एट द सेम टाइम उनीहरुलाई दिएको नचाहिने टेन्सन्सहरु पनि ह्यान्डल गर्नु पर्थ्यो त्यतिखेर चाहिँ वी रियली फेल्ट सेफ एन्ड assured that our children were in good hand. Apart from the quality education the school provided, it also molded my children to become practical, compassionate, responsible human beings. There were many times when my children taught me how to deal with certain situations and also helped me to change my stereotypical mindset. Not only did this journey of Rato Bangala change the lives of our children, but it also helped change lots of lives of students in the remote villages through Rato Bangala Foundation. Ma pani euta Rato Bangala Foundation site ma gएको थिएँ, and when I went there and saw the changes it made in the life of like thousands of students, teachers, principals, stakeholders, and to make them understand what quality education is, what education is, and the importance of education. It was amazing. I was so satisfied, and I was like, oh, मैले तिरेको पैसाले यस्तो चेन्ज पनि गर्न सक्दो रहेछ भन्ने कुरा मलाई त्यतिखेर एकदम फिल भएको थियो र त्यो बच्चाहरुको लाइफमा चाहिँ हामीले सानो अमाउन्टले पनि त्यो बच्चाहरुको लाइफमा त्यत्रो ठूलो परिवर्तन ल्याउन सकेकोमा म धेरै नै सन्तुष्ट भएको थिएँ. At the last of my children to graduate today, I'm very overwhelmed. अलिअलि कस्तो कस्तो लागिरहेको छ, खुशी पनि लागिरहेको छ. अब आजबाट मेरो रातो बंगलासँगको यात्रा टुङ्गिन्छ, तर के थाहा म एक दिन फेरि हजुरआमा भएर रातो बंगलामा जोइन हुन्छु होला कि who knows. Dear class of 2020, what I have learned and what you all are learning is that the world around us is very uncertain. Whenever you feel comfortable, life will always throw you a different curveball at you. Look at every obstacle you encounter as an opportunity for growth and never be afraid to lean on others around you or never be afraid to help others around you. Be kind in everything you do and always strive to help others as well. Congratulations to all of you. May you all shine in whichever field you choose and whichever place you plan to go. Be good human being and make us proud. Dhanyabad.
Thank you, Ms. Sherpa. So well expressed. We're honored to have Dr. Kumud Dhital with us today as the keynote speaker. Dr. Dhital is a renowned cardiothoracic specialist and a transplant surgeon with clinical and academic experience in Europe and Australia. Most recently, he was the director of cardiothoracic surgery and transplantation, as well as the program director of heart and lung services at the Alfred Hospital and professor of cardiothoracic surgery at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. After a bachelor degree in physiology and biochemistry, followed by a PhD in anatomy at the University of London, he obtained his medical degree at the University of Oxford. In July 2014, at St. Vincent's Hospital, Sydney, Australia, Dr. Dhital, as the lead surgeon, performed the world's first heart transplant with a distantly procured heart from donation after circulatory death, referred to by the media as a dead heart transplant. Similar programs are rapidly adopted by heart transplant programs in the UK, but it took 5 years until December 2019 for it to be adopted in the US. Professor Dhital also has significant teaching responsibilities for medical students and junior surgeons. This is complemented with a basic and translational research program, including supervision of higher degree research students. He maintains his academic position at the University of New South Wales and is currently in the process of relocating to India to establish a new heart and lung transplant program. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Kumud Dhital, to deliver his commencement all the way from Australia.
I hope you can hear me. Good day to you all from Sydney, Australia. Thank you, Rachel. To the principal and directors of Rato Bangala School, faculty and supporting staff, any distinguished onlookers, parents, relatives, and online gatecrashers, and finally to the graduating class of 2020, I thank you all for the enormous honor of addressing this ceremony. It is somewhat disconcerting to be staring at this computer screen rather than directly at you in a school auditorium. I'm unable to gauge your reaction and have no idea of how many you are actually present or playing truant now that you can. Who could have ever thought we would be in this surreal world where by virtue of a virus a millionth smaller than the average mosquito could cause a pandemic disrupting all individual, family, and societal activities, essentially bringing the world to just barely functioning, with incalculable damage to healthcare, livelihoods, job prospects, and national economies. In this crisis, I'm all too aware of its influence on you as students, particularly at this juncture of completing your high school education, not being allowed the normality of sitting exams and having your grades otherwise decided externally by metrics alien to any previous experience must surely be hard, particularly if you're expecting to have done better than what has been conferred on you. You've been thrown a hurdle, but know that hurdles are all surmountable. Others may similarly have achieved better than expected grades and so can count themselves lucky. Maybe God does play dice after all. It may not be so much of a reassurance at this point in time, but you're not alone. In this short lecture, I hope to convince you that regardless of your grades, every one of you has not lost out on the brightest of futures. And reflecting on this pandemic and the minuscule virus, I'm reminded of a quote, not sure whose, but that if you're too small to be effective, you have never been in the dark with a mosquito. And all of you are and will be effective and consequential. So faced with the dilemma of having to match these words with one of the most memorable milestones that this occasion represents in your lives, I did what you do with the hard stuff. You break it down and process it in smaller chunks, only to realize that any of the parents would be equally qualified to be addressing you. So I address you on their behalf, and remember that today is almost as much about their own achievement as it is about the school's achievement as it is yours. The school will go back to work on the next batch, continue striving for better batches, and will want to hear from you, if not hear of you. Your parents will have nurtured you to date, taught you right from wrong, kept you grounded, and lit the road for you to follow and where to tread. Will, after passing of today's euphoria, realize that they have to finally let you fly, that you will be setting your own destination and lighting your own path. So grasp the moment, because between now and whenever they come down from cloud 9, it is the best time to be asking for anything you wish. Don't get me wrong, there'll be other opportunities, but you will have to wait for university graduation, for your marriage, of their approval, and the arrival of perhaps grandchildren. Gone are the days when that ask may have happened every time you took home a good grade and a glowing teacher's report, with the inevitable parental extrapolation that you would therefore go on to win the Nobel Prize. And don't forget that many Nobel laureates, including Albert Einstein, Rabindranath Tagore, George Bernard Shaw, Bertrand Russell, Winston Churchill, Andrei Sakharov, and Richard Feynman, just to mention a few, had either a miserable time at school, were not particularly gifted, or thought the whole school system was of no use. Some of you will have similar thought when you look back at your own chemistry and complex maths lessons. Much of what you've learned may be of no use to you later in life, but that is only if you reflect on the individual subject or class. The point is to understand that all the compulsory lessons are complementary in giving you the necessary tools to assimilate, analyze, and respond to any situation you may face in the future. Each and every one of you is therefore still on track to win a Nobel Prize or have your name on a Guinness World Record. It is simply that from now on, it is down to you, your passion and strength of character. Gone are the days, and this is pertinent in our Asiatic culture, of having to choose between medicine, law, and engineering. You only have to look at RBS, which over its 20 years has not only been churning out world toppers in A-levels, but has produced successful individuals in all walks of life, and very much despite much parental caution that so many of these new and dubious professions are not going to give satisfaction or means to enjoy a career and family life. And so much talent goes wasted when deprived of chasing your dreams. All of you can succeed at the highest level. It is about matching your passion with commensurate ability and making your classroom daydreams come true. Ability can be learned, and I could teach you all to do surgery, but that burning passion that keeps you awake and that makes your mind and limbs restless cannot be learned or bought. It is in and part of you, with a window of time in which it needs fueling with your dedication and one day to spark and come alight. If you can dream it, forgive me, it's just been going here, something here. If you can dream it, then it can be arrived at, but a dream without effort, without the courage to try, fail and rise again, sometimes repeatedly, will forever remain just that, a dream. The less effort you put into translating that recurring dream, the more likely it will continue to haunt you with a regretful, why didn't I? And never give room for regrets. Think of your failures at lessons learned, the forks on the road not to travel down, as opposed to ever abandoning your journey. I generalize in saying that your success to date has largely been on your ability to memorize and regurgitate facts in a coherent fashion. You are the very best of parrots. And your success from now on, however, depends on your ability to deal resiliently with the unexpected, whether it be good or bad. Let me share some personal anecdotes which have helped me to guide my choices in how to deal with the difficult times that you will all face at one time or another. As a young boy, I would often have conversations with my father about what careers to choose, and he simply said that he didn't mind. Say that I should choose well, that I could be a thief if I wanted to, but make sure that I should never be caught. It was his witful way to say that I could choose anything, but that I would have to do it exceptionally well. Some years later, as he dropped me off at a British boarding school, he advised that if I chose to live in a foreign land, then I would have to be as good, if not better, than the locals to succeed, and how right he was. So if your journey is driven by passion, don't ever give up, even though there will be times when you feel like doing so. Which brings me to my grandfather. Many years ago, in my late teens, I decided to trek to Gosainkhanda with a cousin for Janai Purnima. And my grandfather then described the whole journey from Kathmandu by foot, where to stop, where to find tea hut, where we'd encounter the difficult climbs, where the turns were. It was so detailed that I assumed he had made the journey many times. We turned out he'd never actually been there, but had had the whole journey described to him so many times by others. We laughed and laughed, but he then gave me a bit of advice that I still use today, and even for my patients who are facing the ups and downs of post-operative recovery. He said, when you keep walking up the hills, the elation of finally reaching the peak is dashed by the sight of another and yet taller hill to climb next. In that tired and demoralized state, he said you should simply turn around and look back at the road you have traveled and the many peaks already conquered. He was so right, and doing that gave me a sense of achievement. He re-energized the aching body, made the journey enjoyable, and reaching the destination was so far more satisfying. Addressing you at Rato Bangala is for me the greater honor because of how it rekindles so many of my childhood memories. I lived there in Ciudad Bartol from the age of 5 and 10. And the older children there had their own newsletter, a makeshift but working telephone system, while mine was between my house and that of my neighbor with 2 matchboxes and kite thread in between, hunting birds with a small bore rifle, and us younger ones with self-made gudelis and pranks all around. The area was obviously meant to have been a school. I often think back at lying on the roof of Rato Bangala at night during the monsoon season and looking at what were, I thought, shooting stars, only to find that there were the annual Perseid meteor showers, which I think some of you might be watching now. It is the stuff of dreams, and had I stayed in Kathmandu beyond the age of 10, who knows, I might well have become an astrophysicist. From the vantage point of the school, you have for many years been staring out to the south to Pulchoki Hill. How many have actually been there, or to Godavari, or to the northern hills in Nepal? For the richness in the variety of plants or jari-buti, it is a paradise for medicinal chemists. And recently I established a company with some friends to find an antiviral for COVID-19. And whilst our first candidate wasn't good enough, instead of giving up, we've kept at it and are hopeful that now the newer compounds and others of the same class will succeed. So my mind keeps turning to those unexplored plants and fungi, to others that have never been tested, and to others that have been tested but just dropped by, but that could have been used for other diseases. And we generally wonder at the untapped potential of our own back garden. Sadly, when you look around the valley during normal times, you're now unlikely to see beyond the nearest hills, the smog hanging like some threatening calamity. Certainly the mountains only grace your view rarely, and when you see that far, you will also notice the devastating deforestation that is now so commonplace. These areas of producing new medicines, of advocating and implementing policies and solutions for climate change are going to be your responsibility. My generation has squandered that opportunity through ignorance, lack of will, lack of courage, and plagued with self-fulfillment. There are many other areas where you'll be taking up the banners, and please don't wait for those banners to be handed down to you. Demand them as your right and own them for the greater good. So this graduation is not about celebrating just an individual educational marker in your life. It is far more about the moment in all your lives when the decisions you make, the path you take, and the mindset with which you do that will do far more than just determine your personal surroundings. We wanted to influence our lives, and I say that collectively. We want you to go and shake the world and reshape its course and purpose for the whole community. This pandemic alone teaches us how everyone and everything is so interconnected, a fact that has been sadly misunderstood amongst the generations above you, but who in their own evolution were doctrined to follow a different song of personal gains and narrower goals. Also remember that as many of you now consider joining universities for your continued tertiary education, try to be humble and accepting that whilst you may be a subject topper at school or a school topper, your class at university will be with fellow students of similar ability. They will all be of that 10%, that top cream. And I'm reminded of years ago at Cambridge, when thinking of a girls' school for my daughter, one of them used to do exams for the 6-year-olds, all-day exams. And a mother was brought in with a daughter and told that they could not give her daughter a place. And she exclaimed, saying her daughter at just age of 6 had a reading age of 12, whereupon the headmaster pointed out, "Madam, they all have a reading age of 12. So don't be surprised on suddenly realizing that at university that you may not be the best, whatever that means. But don't let that negatively influence those of you who have, with or without effort, achieved that top tier and always managed to stay there, never having known a lesser academic status. Be humbled by the fact that more often than not, an A-class student will work for a C-class student, as Robert Kiyosaki, the author and businessman, is known to say. University's life is much more than a mere collection of your academic classes. Have you ever cooked a meal, washed the dishes, your clothes, and swept the floors or cleaned the toilet? Do you know how to iron and sew? So as Kaustubh reminds us, but wants to postpone today, it is time to wake up, because at university, particularly away from the comfort of home, you will be doing all those things, but also finding yourself, honing your dreams, making and breaking friendships, falling in and out of love, and working part-time to make ends meet while trying to keep up with your studies, but never losing sight, I hope, of your task, as of today onwards, to make your indelible mark in changing this world of ours for the better place it deserves to be. Incidentally, as you get your mothers and aunts and grandmothers and cooks to coach you basic skills, make sure you steal those secret family recipes and send them my way. I have a large collection from my patients that I wish to add to. And as you now leave RBS, don't forget to thank the teachers, particularly those that have inspired you. They have a right to know and feel proud as they watch you grow into adulthood. Thank the supporting staff who fed you, the groundsmen and the cleaners, without whom your pristine school environment would not have materialized. And now temporarily leave your mobile phones aside, get your hands out of your pockets and the handbags, look around you and up to the heavens, smell the air and think on what needs attention, what needs fixing. Class of 2020, I congratulate you again and ask that now you stride forth with confidence and make your dreams come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dhital, for your inspiring and informative address. At this point, I would like to remember Dadaji, who instilled in us the love for Nepali Thanda recitation. For every one of us who have been in Rato Bangala school, reciting Thanda ka kavita will always be a memory that we will cherish no matter where we are. I now invite Bishruti Rijal from A2 to recite a farewell poem, Bidai Ko Kavita, for the graduates. The poem was specially written by Dadaji for the graduation ceremony at RPS and has become a tradition since 2001 when the first batch of students graduated. There's been a small problem, so I'd like to move on. Now, I'd like to request the director of Rato Bangala School, our esteemed Ms. Shanta, to address this virtual gathering.
Good morning, Dr. Kumud Dhital. Let me begin by showing you an artifact. Dr. Dhital is not only a Gorkhali pride, as was covered by Himal Khabar Patrika in its November 2014 issue. He is a Nepali pride and a pride of the world. We are privileged to have you here today. Thank you for connecting us to your life in and around Rato Bangala compound and realizing while so young that this should be a school. You are the most multi-talented person I know, from knowing how to sew, to cook, and to transplant heart and lungs. Thank you, Dr. Dhital, for your inspirational address to the students. Good morning, Ms. Maya Lama, the ideal parent who now has graduated 3 amazing children from Rato Bangala School. Thank you for your heartfelt address. Good morning, my colleagues at Rato Bangala and our dear graduates. Dear graduates, it has been an interesting challenge to convert your in-person graduation to an online one. We have managed to mark your graduation, but we are saddened for not being able to do this in person. And like Ms. Milan said, we will definitely make up for it. Graduates, it is evident from what we have heard from previous speakers, as well as from you, that this cohort is well equipped and ready to venture out into the larger world. Your experience in the last 5 months, locked down without choice, has made you accept the hand that is dealt to you, and you have tried your best to embrace it. Then the CIE results arrived, and some of you are understandably disappointed, as CIE did downgrade the results considerably worldwide. Were it not for COVID-19, you would have sat your exams and it would have been a different story. However, you know that RBS graduates carry a portfolio that is much more than the academic grades. You are critical thinkers who are positive, with a high sense of social commitment, and will continue to learn throughout your lives. You are equipped with literacy, learning, and life skills required to succeed and to steer this world forward. We have full faith in you. Walking a smooth path in life does not allow you to develop grit or resilience needed to respond to unknown challenges. You have to literally trek in the hills and mountains, as Dr. Dhital said in his story, to appreciate the ups and downs of life. The pandemic has been this figurative trek, and you will be judged by your response to it. In the school's biographical timeline, you will be known long into the future as the pandemic batch. Like with the earthquakes of historical time, things will now be remembered as pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, and the class of 2020 was right in the middle of it all. Dear faculty and staff, thank you for facilitating these graduates from primary all the way to A-levels. You have done your best. While the teachers did an excellent job in classes with the students, the administration and support staff worked hard to ensure that everything else was taken care of. This included your food, transport, recreation, the verdant compound, as well as all your various trips and extracurricular activities. Graduates who joined RBS in grade 11, this is the time for you not only to appreciate the teachers here at Rato Bangala, but also all those teachers and staff who groomed you in your old school. Please take time to remember them. Parents, thank you for believing in Rato Bangala and working with the school to craft these wonderful individuals who are now set to take flight into the wider world. They are the product of our joint effort, and they make us proud. Please cherish the remaining time you have with them, for when they leave, even if they do come back under the same roof, they will be there as full adults who have experienced living by themselves and have learned to solve their own problems. You must be able to give them plenty of space. Dear graduates, in the euphoria of graduating and carving out a journey for yourselves, I hope that you will keep space for Nepal too. Nepal is one of the poorest countries in the world in material terms, but she has nevertheless given you the best schooling. Is it fair that only a minuscule percentage of Nepalis get the opportunities that you have got? Definitely not. This has to be changed, and it can be done with your help. Let me make my point by referring to the Perry Preschool Project in the United States. This project was carried out in one of the poorest areas of Michigan between 1962 and 1967, with the aim of providing 3- and 4-year-olds with the skills to do well in school and in life, and therefore to break the cycle of poverty. Altogether, 123 students participated, with 56 in the experimental group and rest in the control group. The intervention, simply put, were 2.5 hours at the Early Childhood Center 5 days a week, and weekly home visits and interaction with mothers. This has now become the longest longitudinal study in education anywhere, ever, and is still providing data from the individuals who are as old as I am today addressing you. The study results have shown significant difference in the experimental versus control group in several important factors. Those in the experimental group were more likely to complete high school, more likely to hold jobs, and had higher salaries. They committed fewer crimes and had fewer teenage marriages in comparison to the control group. Among those who analyzed the results of the Paris Preschool Project was Dr. James Heckman of the University of Chicago, who received the Nobel Prize in Economics in the year 2000 for his conclusions drawn from this study. His Heckman curve shows that the earlier the investment in education, the bigger the returns for the individual and for society at large. In other words, if we invest in the prenatal and neonatal care, we get the most returns, And in a descending order, we will get returns if we invest in the first few years, primary school, secondary school, tertiary school, and then on job training. In addition to this, for the past 25 years, there has been a flood of information on how the brain grows, and of particular importance is the window of opportunity to develop skills early in life. Brain development research shows that the window of opportunity for vision is 0 to 2 years, hearing is 0 to 2 years, speech 0 to 3 years, for emotional development 8 months to 2 years, for forming habits 6 months to 2 years, for language it is 6 months to 3 years. Thus, we find that in retrospect, the Peri-Preschool project used the window of opportunity to form good habits, develop emotional control and thinking skills in the very early years. And these skills have lasted a lifetime for the experimental group. It has become clear now that if this window of opportunity is not utilized in a timely manner, the task to develop the same in older children will require much more remedial effort and resources. Therefore, the importance of the early childhood years. Professor Heckman's conclusion and brain research are today being used by the state of Alabama in the United States to upgrade its education system from birth to 8 years. Known for being one of the poorest states with an equally poor education system and with a large proportion of African Americans, Alabama has proven that sincere effort and cooperation among the stakeholders for early childhood education can yield great results. Children from disadvantaged backgrounds who receive early childhood care do as well as the children from privileged families in primary school and do not have to lag behind. Serious planning, an extensive network of stakeholders, support for teachers, parental involvement, nutrition and health programs, and using the window of opportunity are the hallmarks of the Alabama Early Childhood Program. Due to exemplary social and political leadership, buy-in from the governor, Alabama now leads the United States in providing the best services for the 0 to 8-year-olds. RBS class of 2020, you understand why I took you through this report of the Peri-Preschool project. Why can we not do this in Nepal? And why can you not be part of such thinking? We at Rato Bangala have provided you with exemplary education, but in addition, we hope to have inculcated in you a sense of belonging to your country and a commitment to serve. And one of the most critical areas that is crying out for reform in Nepal is education. We know that when Nepal's education is compromised, lives are wasted and the country suffers in return. While the term early childhood has entered the Nepali educational lexicon, the application leaves much to be desired. I want you to consider that quality early childhood education is a crucial path for Nepal to break out of the cycle of poverty and to carve a future for our society. Our government, instead of getting serious about such a program, waits for directions from development partners. Past experience over decades have shown that the donor community can at best provide piecemeal work over a limited time frame. Meanwhile, the business community will only get involved if they see direct financial gains. With devolved power in a federal system under the new Constitution of Nepal, adopted in 2015, the present time provides a great opportunity to transform our society for the better. The education sector needs people who will stay the course for decades and work with purpose, dedication, and honesty. Class of 2020, our hope rests with you and the total 1,722 fine individuals who have now graduated from this institution and other youth who have received quality education from other education institutions in Nepal. You have all the skills required to develop the nation, and we believe and we hope that you will seize the opportunities to select your career path, and that you will work hard to make Nepal and Alabama that will have the best early childhood education in this region. I end by urging you to live every day and make life your learning. We hope to hear from you and are eager to track your trajectory. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shanta, for your sagacious and important advice. Now, apologizing for the hiccup, I would like to go back to Bishruti Rijal from A2 to recite a farewell poem, Bidai Ko Kavita, written by Dadaji for our graduates.
आमाको काख छाडी सबल पयरले मार्ग आफ्नो समाई लागेका जान टाढा प्रमुदित मनले लक्ष्य राम्रो ठमाई प्यारा दाजु दिदीओ शुभ अवसरमा हात जोडी प्रणाम यात्रा निर्विघ्नको होस् सबतिर जय होस् हौ सबै पूर्ण काम सबै हामी शिक्षा लिन बटुलियौं आज छुटिदा निकै दुख तो होला हृदय तर भन्छौं अब बिदा लिदा जाऊ विद्या थय नगर विश्वै पर घुमी बनाऊ यो आफ्नो मुलुक र जगत सुन्दर तिमी हामी एका घर सरी भई भाइ बहिना बनेर शिक्षा पायौं गुरु र गुरुमा बाट माया भरेर छुट्ने बेला द्रवित मनले आज गर्छौं बिदाई भन्दै बिर्से त छ मन रुने सम्झ है स्कुललाई भन्दै बिर्से त छ मन रुने सम्झ है स्कुललाई
Thank you, Bishruti. That was beautiful. Now, I would like to call on Adishree Regmi, class of 2020, to recite the poem Rato Bangala Chadera Jada Ko Udgar to bid farewell before the venture on.
तिम्रो काख बसी भर्यो हृदय यो सत्ज्ञानले प्रेमले मान्छे बन्न सिक्यौं भलो जगतमा विद्या कला सिपले तिम्रो स्नेह र बुद्धि सत्य मनमा जो हो गरी राखुला माता भार बुझाउने सफलता सत्कार्यले ल्याउला छाडी आज सबै तिमी र गुनिलो यो स्नेहको आँगन जाँदैछौं अभियान गर्न वसुधा का ज्ञानको आर्जन गर्दै उद्यम भाग्यका लहरमा काहीँ पुगौं तापनि यो रातो बंगला सदा हृदयमा हाम्रो बजोस् छन्झनी हाम्रो स्कुल यसै रहेर मुटुमा टाढा हुने छैन यो प्यारो देश सधैँ रहेर मुटुमा बाँच्ने छ बाचा भयो हामी लागि पर्यौं महत्व बुझिदा त्यो विश्व बन्धुत्वको हामी भित्र समाज देश पृथ्वी जम्मा छ एकै ढिको हामी भित्र समाज देश पृथ्वी जम्मा छ एकै ढिको धन्यवाद
Thank you, Adishree. This poem was also Dadaji's work of art. Now, for the last event, I would like to introduce the form meetings. Again, all the students' introduction by form meeting, but without Ms. Rajni this time due to the technical issues. So if we could have that, please.
Dear class of 2020, you will be dearly missed. I have enjoyed working with you in the last 2 years. I will always remember the morning assemblies, especially Fridays, when you performed on the stage. The announcements and the sharing you would love to make about your clubs became better and better as you became more experienced in public speaking and became very confident. Sometimes I had to intervene and say, maybe we should stop for today, else you will miss your first class. Class of 2020, it has been a pleasure working with you. You have excelled in organizing events such as the MUN, the TED-Ed, and talent shows. Congratulations to all of you on this special day. I will say something about each form. Form 1, Sanjay Karna, your form teacher, remarks that you are a dynamic and enlightened group. You were always eager to run to the tempting futsal field like any other form. Form 2, you never hesitated to share your problems and always took suggestions positively. You are calm, smart, and interactive. Thank you, Sudeep sir, for entertaining them during the weekly meetings. Form 3 is known to be a very happy group, full of enthusiasm and zeal, boisterous and inquisitive at all times, especially during your form meetings with Miss Devna. Form 4, you were always enthusiastic in sharing your ideas and opinions. You were mostly concerned about your grades and college placements. You chatted a lot while walking around the neighborhood. Miss Hema, your form teacher, remembers you running up to her room on the dot for the weekly meetings. Dipendra sir, Form 5 form teacher, describes you as being sociable, assertive, trustworthy, and cooperative at all times. You were Form 6, you were much aware of what was happening in your surroundings and showed interest in world affairs as well. Curious, responsible, and focused. Anxious about your future. You are an interesting group with a mix of quiet, outspoken, chilled, and over-conscientious members. Thank you, Suman sir. Form 7. Although you had diverse interests, you were a close-knit group of interactive and diligent set of students. You communicated openly with your form teacher, Sushil sir, who enjoyed meeting you every week, had this to say about you. Form 8, you were one of a kind, says Riju Paurial, your form teacher. Your amiable nature speaks in a fierceful way. You were amusing with full of goofiness. You had a unique spark when you shared your stories about your form meetings. Form 9, you are a group that is frank, inquisitive, dynamic, and cooperative. Miss Perry, your form teacher, always shared after the meetings that it was a pleasure to work with you. Form 10, honest, frank, open-minded, sensitive, and always extended help when required. At the end of 2 years, the whole group became very close to one another, and your form teacher, Miss Reena, as well. Form 11, Miss Rekha, your form teacher, describes your group to be polite, obedient, friendly, soft-spoken, and well-mannered. Form 12, you are responsible and thoughtful, confident, and an energetic gang. Your unity is truly amazing, and your keen interest in sports and cultural activities make your group all-rounders. Rajendra sir, your form teacher, has lots of good things to say about you. Form 30, Rajendra Khatri, your form teacher, uses the adjectives dynamic, energetic, and obedient while describing your form group. Form 14, you are such a cohesive group, non-judgmental, compassionate, and fully conscious of your responsibilities. There were singers, musicians, and dancers, which made form meetings fun. Miss Rajni, I, your form teacher, will truly miss the smiles on your faces. Form 15, a fun-loving group are the first words that come to your form teacher, Miss Rojla's mind. You are respectful, disciplined, friendly, inquisitive, and responsive, qualities which will make you successful. Form 16, you were a fun group. You had fun discussions and shared fun math questions during morning assemblies, very aptly described by your form teacher, Miss Rijal. Once again, congratulations, class of 2020. Have a great future. Learn from your past and live at the present. Now, at the present, take care and stay safe.
Thank you, Ms. Rajni. With this, we have come to the end of the program. Now, let us have a gallery view of all the graduates before we end the program with the instrumental number on flute, Yo Nepali Siru Thai Sansarma Lam Kansa. Thank you, Krishna sir, for playing the flute. I sincerely thank everyone present here and our audience on YouTube Live for attending this virtual graduation ceremony. I wish the graduates of 2020 a very successful future. Thank you and namaste.
it's something unpredictable. For what it's worth, it was worth all the work. Unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time